What's up, house groups? This Sunday was Reach Des Moines, and I want to say thank you to all of you who served. It ended up being an awesome day. We had a ton of people sign up. All the organizations were super grateful. So thank you guys so much for serving the city and making the love of Jesus tangible. Tonight, since we didn't have a normal Sunday service this week, I want to flash back a few weeks to the first message of the Alter Ego series. Both because I think it touched on a powerful universal topic we all need to be reminded of repeatedly, and also because I think it'll set us up well for the conclusion of the series this Sunday. 3 weeks ago, I talked about what I think is maybe the most poignant, powerful question in the entire Bible. In Genesis 3, right after Adam and Eve decided to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, they immediately realized they were naked, felt totally vulnerable, and had shame enter into the human equation for the very first time. And so they hid from God. Then God showed up and asked, "Where are you?" And Adam said, "Well, I was naked, so I hid." Which was a stupid thing to say, because Adam had been naked his whole life. He'd been physically, emotionally, and relationally naked, completely known by God. And so when he said, "Hey, I was naked, so I hid," it's an odd thing for him to say. So God asked him this question: who told you that you were naked? Because we were created by the voice of God. He spoke the world, and humans specifically, into being, and we were made to be shaped by his voice, the voice of our Creator. But as soon as sin entered into the picture, humanity began being shaped by voices other than the voice of God. And for Adam and Eve, that meant in an instant, they went from being naked and unashamed to hiding because they were full of shame. And their shame ended up cutting them off from connection with God and one another. And it's fascinating. When God asked that question, who told you that you were naked? It wasn't to condemn them, like, how dare you listen to anyone but me? But it was to reconnect with them. Because he knew there were now voices shaping their identity and their worldview that told them things that weren't true. He knew that they now believed, like, because of what we did, we're unworthy to be loved. Like, they believed right when they sinned, they could no longer be fully loved if they were fully known. And there's something inside us as human beings, this is baked into our souls, that desperately wants to be fully known and fully loved at the same time. Because that's what God dreamed us up for. But deep down, because we know we're messed up, because we know our own imperfections, we let the voices in our world tell us the same thing Adam and Eve heard. You can't be known and loved at the same time, so you gotta hide, because maybe, like just maybe, you could be loved, partially, probably not fully, but you could be loved as long as you're not known. And look, I don't know what it is for you, but I'd be willing to bet every single person listening to this video right now, like every last one of them in the room with you tonight, has some part of their life, their story, their past, that right now they're sitting there. Right now you're sitting there believing, everybody would reject me if they knew it. Like, you're pretty certain if you shared that part of your history in small group in a few minutes, you would be judged and held at an arm's length. Because, like, if everybody fully knew the whole truth about everything you've done and everything you've said, about everything you've thought, there's no way they'd let you belong anymore. I know you think that, because I think that. All of us think it, and we think it because somebody told us that we were naked, that we're vulnerable, that we're unworthy, that we're condemned, that we're cut off. We have all heard and believed that voice, and it causes us to hide. It causes us to crop, edit, and filter our lives to perfection and allow shame to shape our identities and ultimately cut us off from the depth of relationship and connection we were created for. But I think God has something to say to you and me in that space. And it's perfectly exemplified by this interaction Jesus had in John 8. This group of religious leaders brought a woman before him who had just been caught in adultery. I mean, she was literally naked and ashamed, laying there in the dirt. And the law said they could stone her to death. And Jesus basically looked at these dudes and said, "Hey, what if I peer into your soul? Well, what if I rip open your chest and expose your naked life to the world? If it's clean in there completely, then go ahead, reject her and chuck a rock. If not, maybe walk away." And every last one of them ended up walking away. And then Jesus, who had every right to throw the rock because his soul was spotless, looked at the woman and he said, "I don't condemn you either." And notice, he didn't say you didn't sin. He didn't look at her and say, "You're not guilty, you never even committed adultery." No. He just separated her identity from her actions. Like, you did what you did, but you are not what you've done. Jesus basically looked at this woman and said, I know you completely and I love you anyways. And he proved just how much he meant that when he gave his life for us. And so I can't help but wonder tonight, what if we really believed that we are known completely and loved anyways by God? What if we embraced that truth deep down in our souls? You guys, faking it and hiding and trying to crop and edit our lives is a terrible way to go through life. And healing for us begins where our hiding ends. And so tonight, will you just come to God and allow his voice to be the one that shapes you? Will you allow him to tell you who you are and to define your identity? Will you believe that even though he knows you, he loves you completely? If you will, I promise, it will change everything about the way you live.